Tom?
We have a camera.
Cheers, Rob.
Here's Rob.
Okay, Sean, good. All right, good afternoon, everybody. The time is now 3:32, and welcome to the Public Safety and Emergency Service Committee. At this time, I'm going to call the meeting to order. If you have any electronics, please shut them off. And if we could all silence anything else, if we could raise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, and Doreen, could you do the roll call, please? Thank you.
Sutherland. Here. Ramos. Here. Sierra. Johnson.
Here.
Cheney.
Here.
Riskevich.
Here.
Stiganga.
Here.
7 present, 1 absent.
All right, thank you. First on the agenda today, we have the Sheriff's Department. Or do I have to say that that first one's shut, not there? It was removed?
Probation is on.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
yeah,
Okay, so I don't have to announce it. All right, thank you. Okay. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much. The first, resolution would be a request to accept and appropriate funds from the New York State Department of Homeland Security Emergency Services for the purpose of establishing an explosive detection K-9 team. It's $60,000. It's legislative request 248. Can I get a motion? Okay, and who has the honor of speaking to us
So I can
today?
speak to this. So this would be our third explosive detection K-9 that would be funded through Department of Homeland Security. We have 3 currently right now, explosive detection teams. 2 of them have been funded through this. This wouldn't be an addition. This would replace a aging out narcotic dog, and then would be replaced with the explosives. More of the work that we're doing with the K-9s now is involving the explosive detection K-9 teams. So the ability is to do at large venues, to do sweeps for explosive devices or odors, also for the ability to locate guns, spent ammunition, that type of stuff. There's just more work for that now than there is for the narcotics. And so we feel this is beneficial, and the $60,000 will go toward paying for the K-9, the vehicle, and subsequent equipment for the K-9.
Okay, thank you. So any questions from anybody? Okay, not seeing, I'll call the question. All in favor? Okay, thank you. And the next is a request to accept and appropriate funds from the New York State Department of Homeland Security and Emergency Services for the purpose of maintaining current explosive detection K-9 team. It's in the amount of $14,000. It is legislative request 249. Okay,
And I'll speak to that as well. So this is just an offshoot of the grant. This $14,000 is used for equipment, training aids, different things for the existing teams that we already have in maintaining those programs. And it's funded through DHSES, and this may be, I believe, the 3rd or 4th time we've accepted these funds for the meeting.
I have one question.
Sure.
Are we rotating do we have a specific timeline as far as which each one of these teams? Like, are all the dogs in the not the partners, but are all the dogs 3 years apart, 2 years apart, so that they're
So,
not all going through at the same time and we could lose and have to
yeah,
train
so
at
they're not
once?
all at the same time, although with dealing with K-9s, which I did for 18 years, it's all different. So we have some K-9s, that'll last, 10 years in service. We've had some K-9s that last 5 or 6. And, with it being an animal, and sometimes, there's illnesses and stuff like that, that either shorten their tenure or, if we're lucky enough, to get a long career out of them. So some of it, we try and spread them apart, but, with the animals themselves, sometimes it doesn't always work out. But right now, I believe with our K-9 teams, the explosives, the longest serving one has been on for about 5 years. The next one is about 3. We had one that just went through last year, and so it'd be a couple of years between them.
Okay.
Not all right at the same time.
All right, thank you. Anybody else have any questions? Okay, not seeing any, I'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that passes. Letter C is request to accept and appropriate federal funds from the New York State Governor's Traffic Safety Committee for police traffic service programs. It's for $18,528 and it's legislative request 259.
So moved.
Okay.
And I'll speak to that as well. So this is every year, we get funds through the Traffic Safety Committee, and some of the other ones we use, this is the staff members on overtime out to do targeted enforcement. We do things like no empty chair, which targets distracted driving, usually around the times of school districts. And it's to say that there's not going to be an empty chair at graduation. Distracted driving, and then also the Buckle Up New York details. That's what this money funds.
Okay. Any questions from the committee? Not seeing any, I'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
And then we're on to D, corrections report.
Good afternoon. So for the month of August 2025, our average daily population was 473. Of the 473, we had an average of 170 boarders. Our total revenue year to date is $4,776,316. Currently, we have 14 vacancies, and since the date of the report, we had 2 more put in for retirement, so we're playing catch up.
I mean,
14 vacancies, and we just had 2 more at the end of the month will be retiring. So we'll be at 16 at least by the end of the month.
how did that last class come out?
Pretty good. We had a lot of people that came in from state corrections that came through. We have another class in currently that we're expecting to graduate first week in November, and we're looking to try to put another class in mid to late November as well.
Okay, so we're still pulling a lot of interest for the positions.
Yes, and we're expecting several people to at least be eligible for retirement come January, because 25 years ago, we had a couple of big classes, so we're trying to get to even at least by the end of the year, or as close to as possible, because we are expecting quite a few more vacancies in January, so we're just one step forward, 2 steps back kind of thing.
Okay, thank you. Any questions on this? So,
When an ICE, we have on the report, 59 ICE prisoners transferred out. Where do they go? It's not like they're going to another federal institution or something like that. When they say they're transferred out, where do they go? Different places?
They go to different places. A lot of times they're going down to 26 Federal Plaza to be processed to see if they're going to be deported. I don't really know, because all we do is hold them for ICE. We don't have anything to do with transporting or where they go after that.
And there's some outlandish report, I don't know if you saw it, some state agency that Orange County has received. So I read it, you just said it was 4.7 million ICE revenue, the fees that are paid.
Borders, it's all borders, which includes ICE, which is the majority of the revenue, but we do board for other county facilities. So if Rockland County can't pull someone there because there's a conflict or something, we will board for Rockland, Ulster, Dutchess, Putnam, we'll take them in as well.
This had the staggering figure of $68 million year to date that we've collected. Borders.
We have our numbers.
Yeah,
here.
no, I know that.
Yeah,
I looked through
yeah,
those,
no,
and I read it.
that's-
Where did they get that
No,
number?
I do not know.
No. It was one of the emails that was sent to us, like Gene sends us different things, it says Hudson Valley. And it was on one of those, and I looked at it and it said several New York counties, blah, 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 from the ICE revenue, and it had Orange County at 68 million. Which I thought, oh, that's pretty good, but I thought it was absolutely absurd when I saw the 4.7 million.
Yeah.
And now you're saying that's for all outside.
Yeah, that's our,
Drop it.
yes, because if you look at it, it'll tell you here, ICE,
Yeah.
that just dropped in Ulster, US Marshals, et cetera,
Yeah.
and that's the total for all of them. The majority is ICE, you know.
Not so I thought. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else have any questions? All right, thank you. And then E is the sheriff's report.
All right, I'll start that. So sitting here to my right, this is Lieutenant Bernie Mendoza. So his picture is highlighted on our monthly report. So just a couple weeks ago, he finished up after attending the FBI National Academy session 295.
Yes.
So it's 10 weeks down, very prestigious, very honored to have him a part of that. He was one of 5 section chiefs down there during that, and we're glad that he had the opportunity to go. And if you have any words, but we're proud of him. We wanted to make sure that he was here to recognize him, especially during Sheriff's Week.
Well, yes, it was definitely a prestigious honor and it's a once in a lifetime experience for anybody in law enforcement supervisory position. And I can say that I'm proud because not only have I got through it, but also Under Sheriff Mallard, Sheriff Arteta has also gone through the National Academy as well as Chief McGovern. So for me, it's a huge accomplishment to be able to say that I did some training. I think
Yeah, I read that, very impressive.
thank you.
So just further, wanted to know, so in August, we had the New York Air Show. So that was a big undertaking with the Sheriff's Office in coordination with the New York State Police and some other local agencies. Successful weekend, traffic in and out, no major issues at all. So that was a big accomplishment. Also, like to note each month in the commercial vehicle enforcement. During August, we did a total of 20 different inspections. There was 178 violations that were found. 50 of them were out of service violations. And trucks placed out of service total for the month were 14. And the highlight of that one was we had one vehicle that was done in the town of Hamptonburg, had a total of 17 violations. 4 of them were out of service, suspended DOT number, and when it was being transported, it wasn't properly secured. Continuing with the fly car to monitor each month. So this month of September, we moved them to a new location, and we just continue to monitor the number of calls that the specific regions are having, the response time that they have. We're trying to target that to the areas where we feel we can do the most amount of help. And in a lot of instances, that means where the fly car is responding to calls where it's like somebody refuses medical attention, and then that keeps the ambulance in service. So even though they didn't have to respond out, if there wasn't a call for service that required a transport, that ambulance would be available for that. So we had 2 more people start EMT school last week. When they graduate, we'll have 5 total. And we look in the beginning of the year to send another 2. And if we continue on with this, the goal will be to add possibly a second flight car. So we're happy with how it's moving forward so far.
I have to say, I was up at the NISAC meeting, and I'm the vice chair for public safety. And it was one of the discussions that I was very proud to be able to say what we were doing, especially to some of the, northern counties, because their EMT issues are very severe. Their response time can be up to 45 minutes for a 911 call. And then even when they get there, it's still another 45 minutes or so to get to a hospital. So it was something that really was able to be brought to the table on different avenues of things that they may have to think out the box, like you guys did, to come up with other solutions that would make it so that the first responder that was there was able to at least, control that situation and offer the best care at that point before they could get anywhere else. So I commend you guys for doing that, and I hope that we can continue it, and it does make a big difference in our community.
Okay, anybody else have any questions or comments? Oh,
Legislator.
Thank you, Chair. Captain, just a quick question. I'm to understand that the officer exam is being given this weekend coming up?
Yes, so the last following date was back in August, and then the exam is being given this Saturday and Sunday. From what I understand, there's over 400.
So over 400 people are coming to take that test this weekend, so best of luck to all them, and hopefully you guys find some great new candidates that can start filling in and being the next members of our forces out there. So best of luck to all them. And thank you, Captain, for your
Thanks.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay, anybody else have any comments or questions? All right, thank you.
Thank
You guys have a great day. Okay, next up on the agenda, we have Commissioner Sorigliano of Emergency Services. And who else we have with you?
Dom and Alan.
So, Deputy Commissioner Mack and
30-second.
Dominic. Okay, first request is to request to authorize the acceptance and adoption of FEMA-approved multi-jurisdictional, multi-hazard mitigation plan 2025 update for Orange County. The Orange County Department of Emergency Service, with the assistance from IEM Inc., has gathered information and prepared the multi-jurisdictional, multi-hazard mitigation plan update dated August 2025. This is legislative request 255. Can I get a
Motion.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. I know there's a tremendous amount of work on this plan, and I'm going to defer to Dominic Green to give us an update on the plan.
Thank you, Commissioner. So our last multi-jurisdictional, multi-hazard plan was approved in 2018 by the legislature. The plan is two components. One is an overall county plan that all the participating municipalities need to adopt. And then there's a specific annex for every municipality. So what we've asked you to do is approve the plan and then the Orange County specific annex. So the county-specific annex was worked on by Emergency Services, Department of Public Works, Department of Parks, Department of IT, Department of Planning. So they came to us and said, these are the projects to address various hazards in the community. So for the county annex, it's for county-owned facilities and infrastructure. So our two most expensive items on our annex is the bank stabilization along County Route 32, which is Mill Street, and the town of Cornwall, as the soils are continuing to fall off the bank into the Moodle Creek. And then our Department of Public Works, Commissioner Denenka, sees the same type of soils taking place along Forge Hill Road, County Route 74, in the town of Windsor. So that will be our second largest dollar figure. But other projects include any financial shortfalls for the Cromline Creek Pump Station, improvements to county-owned bridges such as removing the center pier where ice jams can get held up, work on low spots on County Route 51, which is in the town of Hamptonburg, where it continually floods from high levels of water in Tomahawk Lake and that area. We did a PowerPoint presentation. All the pictures of disaster areas are located in Orange County. We focused on disasters that had just taken place between this year and 2018. So we have pictures from the Greenville Lake Jennings Creek fire. We have pictures of tornado damage in the town of Newburgh by the Desmond campus. We have pictures of flooding in Village of Highland Falls. We also have pictures of flooding on Route 32, State Route 32, in the hamlet of Mountainville, just to show that we've had disasters countywide and that the department and our partners in other county departments have responded to these incidents over the past 7 years.
Okay, anybody have any questions?
Yes.
Were there any municipalities in the county that did not participate?
The town of Palm Tree, Village of Currenshaw decided not to participate.
Do they have their own?
They do not have their own FEMA approved plan.
I just want to thank you for this effort. It's very valuable for each of the municipalities to be able to kind of look inward and figure out what they need to do to protect themselves. So it's a very valuable process and benefits the whole county, including all the municipalities.
Thank you.
And Dominic sells himself short of this. He's the one who pushed this all the way across, dealing with all the municipalities. Our contractor and FEMA has been a real dream to work with. And I say that sarcastically, but he's got it to the point where now it's an audience again.
And given the effort this time, I look back for the first time and know the effort that Don put in to get it off the ground, because there was a lot of information that wasn't existing, and the municipalities had to be cajoled and encouraged, and then this time around, I was kind of buttoning up the effort and adding the new things that we've experienced.
So after we've completed our adoption, hopefully by the legislature, we will start working with each municipality to have each municipality do their adoption. And we do have some municipalities that we have been informed with, we are ready to be adopted. We were holding up on, again, Mr. Cheney's the engineer, so we talked a lot about this over the years. We added high hazard dams to this year's update. Some of the municipalities that own high hazard dams, trying to explain to FEMA that the owner and the location don't match. So we need the high hazard dam in the owner's plan or annex, and we also need it in the host municipalities. I'll use the town of Mount Hope. Town of Mount Hope doesn't own a high hazard dam, but there's numerous high hazard dams that are owned by the city of Middletown. So that's a situation where it needs to appear in both the Middletown annex and the Mount Hope annex. And that's what we're finishing the work on.
Okay, we're just gonna start seeing
Yeah,
another
I'm
question.
gonna just echo Legislator Cheney, I want to commend you. I mean, it's a great report, very proactive. I mean, I think in this day and age, and seeing what we saw happen in Highland Falls and tornadoes that seem to pop up, and I'm glad to see that Orange County is future your joint leadership will well prepared. It also looks, if I'm not mistaken, you can have some kind of public period in there in November, a meeting.
We did one in November of 24. We had at the Emergency Services Center. We did have a few members of the public. We do appreciate Municipal Planning Federation and Orange County Department of Planning shared their contact list. And that's how we were able to get members of the public to show up to the 911 center.
Great job. Thank you.
I did have a question. Do we have anything in our plan that deals with some of the dams that may not be county or town or whatever? Because I know there's a lot of private dams out there. How did they fall into that? We ran into that with the big flood with the Washington Blooming Grove area. They were all privately owned. So they were in control of whether they actually lowered the levees or not. And some dumped, some didn't, and it all came all in one big rush, which really took us out.
Our situation that we're dealing with FEMA is that the high hazard dams have to meet the high hazard classification by New York State Department of Environmental Conservation. So where we had a dam failure in Blooming Grove in 2011, her dam was not a high hazard. But with this plan, the high hazard to their individually owned, such as Tomahawk Lake, is privately owned. There's now an opportunity for the town of Blooming Grove to work with the LLC that now owns that dam to do mitigation.
Right, and I believe the one that was by Peddler Hill has actually been emptied. So that, we don't have that one between the one with O&R coming down.
But we still have O&R Lake or.
We still have one on, we
Yeah.
still have the lake and stuff. Okay, thank you.
Anybody else have any questions? Okay, not seeing any, I'll call the question. All in favor?
Thanks, guys.
The next resolution is to request to accept and appropriate federal funds from the state of New York Governor's Traffic Safety Committee for the 2026 Traffic Safety Program grant to continue to provide educational programs to reduce the incident of fatalities and serious vehicle accidents. A school bus safety component will be added to educate Orange County residents about the importance of school bus safety and abiding by the school bus stop arm. The amount is $96,820, and this is legislative request 256. Can I get a motion? Okay.
All right, I'm gonna defer to Deputy Commissioner Rob Dawes to give us an update on this item.
So this is a grant that we apply for each year and receive. As you noted, we did add a component here for school bus safety, being that we're very proactive in this county for that. We felt that that was appropriate to be able to really get into the schools and not only talk to the students, talk to the bus drivers, and talk to parents about the safety issues and develop some promotional materials for that as well as social media. But in addition to that, what this grant pays for is 4 part-time traffic safety educators that are out in the community, they're in the schools, they're at senior events. They do things such as traffic safety for seniors. They do a car fit program where individually with the senior citizen, they'll go over their car with them and make sure they're using the mirrors properly and all the technology that's really overwhelming sometimes for senior citizens, and make sure they're using their car as safely as possible. They also do a lot of programs in the schools. Live at 25 is one of the programs where they really talk about aggressive driving and speeding with our youth, because that's a problem. They do that, and Not One More is another program they do for the seniors in the high schools to make sure that to try to make sure that there's no fatalities with the car accidents being new drivers and the possibility of alcohol or drugs being introduced around graduation time to make sure that everybody's safe. So materials and education is a big component that gets paid for through this as well as, and I'll add on that we also do things for motorcycle safety and pedestrian safety.
Hey, is there any questions on that? I know these programs are similar. Sheeny?
Previous visit, you mentioned how effective the enforcement has been. Are we still seeing a lot of people violating the stop arm, and or we started to see it take off because people now are?
It's a little bit of both. I will say it's a little hard because we've only been active for 1 school year currently. So we really don't have a baseline to go by if we're seeing a reduction, and we're still adding school districts. So that's another. So if you're just looking at pure numbers, it's a very difficult thing to say. But in talking to the school districts, they are saying that their bus drivers are reporting to them that they are seeing improvements, that people are slowing down and they are stopping. Can we reflect that directly in our numbers at this time? No. And we're doing all that we can education-wise.
We probably have to break down by school districts.
And we do, and we provide those to the school district, we provide those to law enforcement too. If we have a chronic location, law enforcement will target that area. So we're doing all that we can with the data that we never had this data before, so it's really helpful.
Right.
It's really been welcomed by the police departments and the school district. They hadn't, their bus drivers reporting back, but now we have hard facts and really clear numbers that it is a problem. And we're doing our best to really lower those numbers, because that's the goal.
Yeah. Great, thank you.
I have one question.
Sure.
Since we started this program, are we getting a lot of repeat offenders on this?
So let me just
Like
be clear that
habitual offenders?
this grant that we're talking about has nothing to do
Oh,
with our
doesn't
school
have
bus
anything
enforcement
with-
program,
okay.
which is a separate thing with the external cameras on
Okay.
buses. But if you want me to answer that question, I'll.
If you could.
So we have had a number of repeat offenders. Many of them have paid, and there's some that haven't. What we're looking to do is get those ones that have not into the courts to make them accountable for their actions. And we are tracking that very closely.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that you see a lot of, and there's some of the videos that are out there on, I mean, it's so blatant that they're not even trying to stop. It's like they just don't care.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying in our county, I'm saying it's just all over, so it's not just us.
No, yeah, it's all over. It's all
Yeah.
over. And it's distracted. A lot of it's distracted driving. People are just not paying attention. They're looking at the device. A lot of the accidents that we're seeing in the county, are because of that, distracted driving. It's very difficult to prove because people aren't going to admit that they're on their phone when they get into the accident. So it is a real problem. And the point of this program is just to warn people, just slow down. The old adage, you see a school bus, slow down. And I think we will see the impacts of the violations as they go out. And we will be targeting those who are repeat offenders for sure.
Okay, I was just curious. Thank you so much.
All right, anybody else have any questions? All right, I'll call the question. All in favor? Anybody opposed? Okay. Letter C is a request to accept and appropriate federal funds from the New York State Governor's Traffic Safety Committee for 2026 Child Passenger Safety Program to continue to educate on the proper use and installation of child safety seats in Orange County. It's $6,950 and it's legislative request 257.
So moved.
Barry. Say that's on you again.
Okay, very good. So this money basically goes back to our 4 part-time traffic safety educators. And what they do with that money is they do a lot of training for what are ultimately first responders, whether they're EMS, police officers, or fire personnel, in the safe installations of car seats, because you can't just throw a car seat in and buckle it and it's good. There's actually a procedure and a proper way to install that car seat so that it works effectively. So that pays for that training for our first responders. It also goes to pay for actual car seats. If a family does not have enough money to provide themselves a car seat, we will provide those at no cost. And we work with our partners in getting those car seats out there. This also pays for a lot of our local police departments in the county will do a car seat safety check is what it's called. And they'll set up whether in a parking lot somewhere there in their jurisdiction. And they'll hold an event, they'll advertise it where parents can show up, they'll bring their vehicle, probably with their kids too, and with their car seats, and the technicians will make sure that the seats are installed properly, or they'll actually install them for them. Or if they don't have one, we'll provide them at the event. So money's used for very important things. And the biggest factor is really education. We still occasionally see cars driving around with children in there with no car seats. And there's really no excuse for that when you can get one for free. And we want to really make sure people are doing that.
Thank you. Any questions, anybody about that? Not seeing any, we'll call the question. All in favor? Anybody opposed? All right. Number D, or letter D, sorry. Request to accept and appropriate funds under the fiscal year 2022 Critical Infrastructure Grant Program. Funding for this grant is provided by the U.S. Department of Homeland Security's State Homeland Security Grant Program and is administered by the New York State Division of Homeland Security. The performance period of this award is 8/1/2025 through 8/31/2026. These funds will be used to purchase a trace explosive detection swipe system to enhance security by adding the capability of quickly identifying explosive materials, preventing unauthorized access, and improve overall safety at identified sites, and to purchase UAS detection and tracking systems to enhance security at the New York International Air Show and other mass gatherings, special event sites. It's in the amount of $50,000 and it's legislative request 265. Okay.
So this was a competitive grant that was put out through New York State Homeland Security that we thought would be beneficial to go after. The max allowance on it was $50,000, which was what we were awarded. Part of that grant, we had to partner with another agency, so we chose the Orange County Sheriff's Office to partner with on that. And you heard that we have about a year to spend these funds. This grant was good in my opinion because we get a grant, as you know, every year, a pretty large grant from the State Homeland Security for counterterrorism. This grant allowed us to get equipment that's not allowed on that grant. So it opened up the doors to some new equipment that we're not customarily able to obtain. What we chose to do was first identify a critical infrastructure site, which we chose to be the air show, being that the county owns the airport. And it's basically an international air show. As you know, we've had performers from all over the world, not only our country. So it's a vulnerable asset. We want to make sure it's protected as best we can. And then from the equipment that was offered through this grant, we went and looked at the Trace Explosive Detection Swipe System, which we think is an added capability for that event with all the people in attendance. As you can imagine, a lot of packages coming in and out, or a suspicious package could be left somewhere. Not all the time are the canines available, or the canines get tired. So we have another capability, if you will, to be able to check those. Basically, if you almost think of it like an airport where they have a little white piece of paper that they do a swipe on that suspicious bag, we'll say a backpack for the sake of argument. They do a wipe. It's a handheld meter that they put that in. It analyzes what that is. If it's something that's explosive, it'll alert to what that substance is, and then actions taken from there, whether it be evacuate or calling the bomb squad, et cetera, whatever the protocol is going to be. This equipment will likely go to our sheriff's office to be using. So we're excited for that. And the other thing is the drone detection equipment. Basically what that will be two sensors that could be set up. And those sensors will alert law enforcement and emergency responders to if there's any drones flying around the air show that should not be, that are transmitting the remote ID. We didn't have that capability in the past, but we will have that capability moving forward. One of the good things with this equipment, not only is it allowed to be used for the 2 days of the air show, we have it, so we could use it throughout the year. So it's an added resource for the county for the rest of the year.
Fantastic. Any questions, anybody? Okay, not seeing any. All in favor? Anybody against? Right. And letter E is request to accept and appropriate additional funds from the New York State Office of Mental Health New York Cares Up grant for existing Cares Up participants. The additional funds will be used to support health and wellness activities that center around family inclusion, support networks, and social connections. The funding is intended to enhance the current Cares Up efforts by developing and or expanding programs that recognize the vital role families and loved ones play in supporting the health and resilience of uniformed personnel. It's in $3,000 and it's legislative request 269.
So
There's a couple things that I just want to comment before I turn it over to Rob. First of all, for the committee, Rob has done a tremendous job of seeking out grants. We really strive on capitalizing on our grants when the opportunities come out. And Rob does go above and beyond to try to seek those grants out and puts in for it and justifies it in the better interest of the whole department. And I want to commend him to the committee for his outstanding job with that. It's not easy, it's difficult, it's a lot of work to do, and he does a great job at it. And then that kind of parlays into the Cares Up grant. And kind of just to quickly summarize the peer support for our first responders, the whole program, that's the Cares Up, it all ties into it, the mental health resiliency for our first responders. And to give you a quick update, Phil Salinardi, who's in that position right now as our peer support coordinator, year to date, he's already adopted over 100 peer support referrals. 100 peer support referrals have gone to him that he's addressed and either handled directly or referred for higher care, which is tremendous. And he's in the process of still building his team of peer support, responders, and it's gotten very good traction. We're very proud of it. But I'm going to let Rob kind of comment on the Cares Up aspect of that.
So as the committee knows, we've received a large grant from State Mental Health from the New York Cares Up grant. So this is funds in addition to those funds, so it's even more. You can see on your agenda, this is really on there 3 times under the fire division, the police division, and the 911 division. So I could probably speak to all of those if people allow at one time, because the $3,000 each that each of those divisions is receiving is really going to be used for similar things just for those divisions. So that money was earmarked in an additional supplemental grant to this that allows for us to do a family event for those first responders. So for the fire division, it would be for fire and so on. What we're looking to do is a wellness activity, which is really inclusive of the family, not only the first responder, but a spouse if they have one, children if they have them, that could come out and really have a nice networking event where we could also speak about wellness and resiliency and bring everybody together. And what this will pay for is the venue, any food that's going to be offered, any games, or, say jump houses and things like that for the children. So it's a really great opportunity that they put out, that they must have had some excess fund, and we were aggressive in going after them because we think it would be very beneficial here in our county to be able to do these things. And we'll definitely have our coordinator there to speak with everybody and make sure everybody understands the purpose of what the event is for. And I think it's a wonderful thing.
That's a great program. And thank you for doing that, because I do know how much work it is to go after those grants and look them, find them, and then put all paperwork in. And we know it gets very tiresome, because it's just a stack. But does anybody else have any questions? All right, I'll call the question then. All in favor? Anybody opposed? All right, thank you so much. We are up to the emergency services E911 now, which is letter F. It's a request to accept and appropriate additional funds from the New York State Office of Mental Health, New York CARES Up grant for existing CARES Up participants. The additional funds will be used to support health and wellness activities that center around family inclusion, support networks, and social connections. The funding is intended to enhance the current CARES Up effort by developing and expanding projects that recognize the vital role families and loved ones play in supporting the health and resilience of uniformed personnel. Larry and Rob. Okay.
Just want to thank Rob for helping secure all this. I appreciate that, especially on behalf of 911. As Deputy Commissioner Doss said, it's going to go for wellness program, for sort of a special event to include families and responders.
And our dispatchers are a critical element of that. I mean, I thank every opportunity I get to thank them for the job that they do, I do. And you should all know every single day, the number of calls that they handle, the difficulty of those calls, we always forget about it, but they're there 365, 24/7, 2:00 in the morning, you wake up, you wake up to go to the bathroom, just know that there's somebody in there on that 911 floor handling the call right now that could be critical in nature. So I thank them every single time. And I think that they deserve this. They deserve this, this support.
Anybody have any comments or questions on this one? All right, I'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Thank you so much. And now we're on to the emergency services, fire services. Deputy Commissioner Green. How are you? Okay, G is request to accept and appropriate funds under the fiscal year 2022 Technical Rescue and Urban Search and Rescue Grant Program. Funding is provided by the State Homeland Security Grant Program and administered by the New York State Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Services. The performance period for this award is 8/1/2025 to 8/31/2026. These funds will be utilized for fire services and response teams that provide technical rescue and USAR-related services through equipment, exercise training, and planning projects. The amount is $99,840, and it's legislative request 264.
Second. Okay, so this grant is the grant that's used to fund our technical rescue team. Those you aren't aware, our technical rescue team is the team that responds to complex rescue incidents throughout the county, rope rescue, confined space, collapse, trench rescue, and also we're branching out into water rescue as well a little bit. So this grant is the primary funding for the team. We're probably approaching about $2 million we received since the team's inception in 2009. So we've been very fortunate through the equipment received through this grant. And the equipment that we're purchasing here will aid specifically the collapse rescue side where we have some airbag items to help lift the collapsed building or parts of the collapsed building and to hoist material to get to occupants that are trapped. But this is a competitive grant, so our team is very well respected in the state, which helps us to be successful with these grants, and we've been very fortunate.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Yes.
I've noticed it before, but this may be a stupid question. These are 13-month grants or 12-month grants? Because August 1st to August
Yes.
31st is 13 months.
13 months, yeah. It's really the state that dictates the grant
Okay, just want to make
performance
sure.
period, so.
Yeah.
And a lot of these get extended because even within that time frame, it's not possible to expend purchasing equipment.
Okay.
That's your
Thank
initial
you.
grant performance period.
Some of your
Thank you.
equipment, I believe you have to order, may not come even if you,
Right.
so it wouldn't be here.
A lot of these require bids, and then we have to do the contracts with the state and go back and forth. It takes some time. So it's normal practice for these to have an initial performance period, and then we work to complete the grant expenditures.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions? Okay, if not, I'll call the question. All in favor? Anybody opposed? All right. And we have letter H, request to accept and appropriate additional funds from the New York State Office of Mental Health New York CARES Up grant for existing CARES Up participants. The additional funds will be used to support health and wellness activities that center around family inclusion, support networks, and social connections. The funding is intended to enhance the current CARES Up effort by developing and or expanding projects that recognize the vital role families and loved ones play in supporting the health and resilience of uniformed personnel. It's $3,000. It's legislative request 267.
And I think Deputy Commissioner Wilson Schmidt covered this pretty well. Same concept with the Fire Services Division. Just a real quick thing to mention on the peer support program the Commissioner was speaking of, and our peer coordinator, Phil Salinari. I think it's been a great asset. As we roll this out to fire departments, we're continually getting the referrals that the Commissioner mentioned. One to bring up recently, we unfortunately had a line of duty passing of a fire chief in Orange County in Pocatello, Joe Mazza Sr. Bill was involved in that right from the get-go, working with the fire department to help them. The fire department did respond to his residence and aided in CPR. So the members of this gentleman's members were the ones that were actually actively working on him. And that takes a toll on the members, and it's good that we recognize that and we're helping them through that. And Bill's been a big part of that as well.
That's great. Anybody have any questions on that? Nope. Okay, I'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
That concludes our Public safety. And everyone have a good day. I need a motion to adjourn. Please don't.